everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Teardown. My name is Jeff Gluck, along with Jordan Bianchi. We are motorsports drivers for The Athletic, and today we are at Talladega Super Speedway in Alabama, and we have just witnessed an interesting NASCAR Cup Series playoff race, one that we've been talking about for well over a year, ever since this landed on the NASCAR schedule. Jordan, we're like, how is Talladega in round 3 going to impact the NASCAR playoffs? Now we know, Jordan, the speculation about how actually this could be an opportunity for a non-playoff driver, and this could actually open up another spot on points, almost, but not quite the case, as Chase Briscoe clinches his spot and punches his ticket to the Final Four for the first time in his career, putting 2 Joe Gibbs Racing drivers in with 2 spots remaining. Wow, what a race!
Yeah, I mean, since this became known a little over a year ago, that this was going to be a semifinals race, we've been counting down the days for this race, it seems like, and what this is going to be like. And there's been a lot of questions of how teams were going to approach this and what this could mean on the impact on the championship. And ultimately, it was a race that a playoff driver won. A lot of the playoff drivers going into this thing didn't think the playoff drivers were going to win. But this ended up being the spot where Chase Briscoe punched his ticket. And we began these playoffs talking a lot about Joe Gibbs Racing. You know, at one point, it didn't feel like they were going to lose, right? Like Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing, they're unbeatable. And then it was, well, now here comes Penske. And then maybe Hendrick's kind of rearing its head up. And now here we are, though, towards the end of these playoffs, a few weeks later, and where are we at? 2 of the 4 spots are guaranteed to be Joe Gibbs Racing. Could be even 3, depending on Christopher Bell does next week. And Penske, who I think would agree is if they got to Phoenix, were probably the championship favorites, are very much on their back foot. Both of their drivers, Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, are facing a must-win situation. And the team that all year long, everyone has had a bullseye on them and said, these are the guys to beat. If they get to Phoenix, look out. There's a real good chance that they're not going to get to Phoenix with a chance to win the championship.
Well, good news and bad news for my playoff picks, Jordan, because the 2 drivers in so far are 2 of the drivers I had in the Final Four. However, I'm guaranteed to not have a correct Final Four at this point because my remaining 2 drivers are those 2 Penske drivers who missed a big opportunity today. Let's talk about them first, and then we'll get to how this race sort of unwinded. But it starts with them because they were controlling the race. They had a chance really late. They were up front, exactly where they wanted to be, because it looked like there was going to be a green flag pit cycle. Cody Ware spins out, causes a caution, and we were all thinking, okay, Penske, and they've expended more fuel. They are going to have to spend more time on pit road to take that fuel. They countered that by getting themselves really close and retaining the lead and control the race off pit road. But when the restart happens, Brad Keselowski, as Blaney put it, was soft on Logano. And so that they didn't get the push they needed. Now, Logano said after the race, his understanding, we didn't hear from Keselowski, his understanding was...
I did talk to Bolin, so go ahead.
Oh, okay, great. Well, basically we heard that he was short on fuel, or fuel's in fuel savings mode, so he didn't. Maybe that's why he didn't push as much. But what do you know about?
Yeah, so let's just set the situation really quick.
Okay.
17 laps to go in this race in regulation, and it's Ryan Blaney on the inside, followed by Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, and Ryan Preece. So 4 Fords, and you think that manufacturing thing, this is it, and also 4 very good drivers in these races. This is like a fever dream for Team Penske, right? You've got your 2 aces up there. One of them is in a really good spot to clinch. Could be a good points day for the other one. They're in the inside lane. On the outside, you got Todd Gilliland, Ford driver, Kyle Larson, and Daniel Suarez. So, kind of hit or miss there, right? Really sets up really well for Penske. They did not get a good restart. They broke apart quick. Talked to Jeremy Bullins, the crew chief for Brad Keselowski. They said, no, fuel was not an issue. They had no issues. They just did not get a good run. They did not want to bump aggressively there and crash one of the 4 drivers. They wanted to be smart in how they approached the race. They wanted to do everything they could to help the Penske guys, but they also were mindful of the fact that we didn't want to take them out. But he was adamant that there was enough fuel in the car, and they did not do anything deliberate, or they did not have any fuel issues whatsoever.
So one of the best super speedway racers of all time was unable to push.
He was unable to push, yeah.
Or, he was being too conservative or something.
But let's remember this though too, and this isn't anything that Jeremy said. This is just talking to people. Remember, many times Brad has always often been accused of being too aggressive as a pusher, right? Okay. And so knowing that, if he is concerned about, hey, in a race where bumps were really aggressive and a lot of squirrely cars, it would make sense theoretically. He says, listen, I want to get on top of these guys. I want to push them, but I don't want to, be aggressive here. So that could be a thing. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen. Like, he did not push. There was no push. They fell apart. They fell back. And from that moment on, from 17 laps to go, the Penske dream was dead.
And so when the caution for overtime comes out, they both decide to pit to top off for fuel. Both drivers said afterwards the reason wasn't that they needed fuel and they were short in that moment, but they were just trying to make sure that they were both like 12th or 15th or whatever at that point. And they figured we're not going to win anyway, so we might as well come for fuel if everybody else is going to run out possibly.
That was their Hail Mary. Yeah, that was their Hail Mary at that point. I was like, let's hope this race has more cautions and guys get started knocked out. We don't have to pit. They run out of fuel. We'll get it back that way. It was a Hail Mary call at that point. But the race was lost for them on that sequence there, and that restart was 17 to go.
Well, it's pretty stunning in a way because you almost expected when they got up there, you're like, well, here we go again with Penske. Yeah. And, now one of them could still make it. But, the prospect at this point of both of them making it is it would be a borderline miracle because they're both well below the cut line. And really the point situation is that if there's a winner from below the cut line, which is very possible, right? So if you have a Chase Elliott, William Byron, or one of the Penske guys, they obviously make it. And then the last spot comes down to Larson or Bell. They're 1 point apart. Mm-hmm. And it'll be Bell versus Larson all day at Martinsville, racing for that last spot on points if they don't win the race. Now, if there is not a winner from below the cut line, both those guys they're good. I mean, they just have to not have a disastrous blown tire day and have somebody from below the cut line have a mega points day, and they will be fine. But they are both saying, hey, we're going. Assuming somebody below the cut line is going to win. Ryan Blaney, though, says it's not that easy because I said, hey, well, if there isn't at least Ryan Blaney, at least it's Martinsville. He did not think that that's necessarily true. He says, we've won. He said, so what? We've won there twice. You never know what's going to happen year after year. People go there and they say like, oh, Blaney's going to go win Martinsville. Easy. It's BS. It's hard. I don't know what speed we're going to have. It's nice that we won there a couple times, but yeah, we got to dig down deep for this one. So we're all saying, oh, Blaney, the Penske flat track program. It's hey, he's going to go in as the favorite, which he definitely will be the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, both things can be true, right? I mean, like he is the favorite. He is justifiably the favorite. He should be expected to do well, and he's got a very good chance to win there. But it is Martinsville. Things happen there. A lot of pit strategy. Things are you get shuffled around a little bit. Something happens. You don't know. A year ago, he got shuffled back at the end and needed a late charge. And he needed actually that race almost to stay green in a lot of respects because he was so good over the long runs and couldn't get his car up to speed on short runs. And so you don't know how things are going to go. And you can't just sit there and say that this is going to happen. And we have seen where drivers you expect to be really good there at times just sometimes miss it. I mean, it's happened with Denny Hamlin. It's happened with William Byron. You just don't know. So, yeah, they should be good there. They're the favorite to win there. But to go there and think that this is our race to lose, that is not the expectation. The one thing that I will say, talk to Penske's competition director, Travis Geisler, and he said, listen, the one thing we have going in our favor is we don't got to worry about points. Like, we are just going to manage our race, all about putting ourselves in a position to win the race. Forget about stage points or anything else. It's all about what we need to do to win that race regardless.
Yeah, it's interesting to think that there'll still be sort of two races going on, right? Because, and look, all those guys below the cut line, you could easily see any of them winning.
Oh, yeah, they're all former winners there.
Yeah. And But so it's going to be fascinating to sort of watch the Larson versus Bell just in case battle, where they're covering in case there's a new winner, and they've got to stay ahead of the other. They're only separated by a point. And then just like the prospect of, okay, could somebody get this done? And then also you're really going to have, and I really think this is an underrated thing. You're going to have like the Briscoes and Denny's of the world trying to keep a Penske driver out of the Final Four.
Oh, yeah.
Briscoe just said again in his news conference, talking about, like he said, I really hope a Penske driver doesn't win. They keep, the field is still talking about Penske at Phoenix.
There's a fear, like a legitimate fear of
palpable.
Yeah. Like if the 12 of the 22 get to Phoenix with a shot at the championship, we're racing for second place. And that's it. And it's your point. Like how these guys manage this situation is going to be absolutely fascinating, because the guys who are in, the Joe Gibbs teammates that are in, they're all in on keeping one of the Penske guys out.
Well, there's not going to be two of them, at least we know that. And so this was a huge missed opportunity, no matter how you look at it, for Penske going forward, the way they got shuffled out now. Now, it was also a huge missed opportunity for Team Hendrick, a massive missed opportunity for Team Hendrick, because they, after Penske lost control of the race, they had control of the race in overtime. You had Byron and Larson. Larson was able to get clear and move down in front. And then it was going to be, okay, well, it looks like Byron is going to, now he's in a position where he's going to push Larson, and maybe he tries to do something at the finish, but he's really going to probably stay loyal to his teammate here. Larson is in favorable position to win his first super speedway race ever. Wow, Larson's going to lock himself into the Final Four. And if not, he's going to go in plus 50 something, probably, he's going to have a huge points day. On the backstretch, Larson suddenly runs out of gas.
And by the way, can we just real quick, lucky break for the field that he's leading one of the lanes and at the front, because if he's in the middle there and he runs out, who knows what happens? Like everybody could have easily bottled up. He was able to quickly dart to the inside and get out of the way.
Well, that was a pretty unbelievable moment in itself, because that also affected the inside lane's momentum. Because William Byron, it's not like William Byron, Larson just gets shuffled out and then Hocevar and Byron just keep the steam going. I mean, they had some momentum, but that was the moment where the top line suddenly surged. So Bubba Wallace was in front at that point with Briscoe and Ty Gibbs following. They got a big surge. And, Briscoe said he didn't know why. I didn't get a chance to talk to Bubba after the race. Bubba stays top. Briscoe then slides down. Bubba doesn't cover in that situation. Briscoe slides down in front. And then Ty Gibbs, who, by the way, let's back up for a second.
Great teammate, Ty Gibbs.
On Saturday, Austin Cindric came in the media center, and we were talking about, his position and the position he was in teammate-wise. And he was pointing out how all three manufacturers were going to have this great teammate, wingman situation. Because like Bowman was out, so he could help the Hendrick guys. Cindric was out, so he could help the Penske guys, and Ty Gibbs out, so he could help the JGR guys. Well, all the response. So I tweeted this quote: "All the responses. You should see Ty Gibbs getting absolutely pummeled. Ty Gibbs? Why would you even mention him in this? He's not going to be the great teammate. No way." I went and talked to Ty Gibbs in the media bullpen, and I asked him a couple questions. How are you going to race this? How are you going to race this? Not very satisfactory answers. Not any answers that would actually inject a lot of confidence to say that those people on social media were wrong.
Were they wrong?
Yes. So Ty Gibbs, instead of going, hey, you know what? I'm going to give myself my best chance for my first win, which would probably be to push Bubba out far enough. You would think to push Bubba out far enough and give a chance to maybe get past Briscoe or maybe make it 3 wide or something. He says, you know what? I'm going to follow Briscoe down through, and I'm going to push Briscoe and be his wingman, as Austin Cindric predicted. Ty Gibbs, teammate of the year.
we had conversation about Ty Gibbs being a horrible teammate at one point in these playoffs, and now it's come a different direction, and now he's the greatest teammate in the world, where his teammates are literally singing his praises after the race.
Unbelievable.
And in all seriousness, like that's a tough position for Ty Gibbs. I mean,
Yeah.
like you're racing for your first win. You've had a frustrating year. You'd like to end it on a high note. Is it better to, like in your mind, it's like maybe it is best to go get that win and kind of put some things to bed a little bit. But I will say this, it's actually probably better and more advantageous for him and the company's growth and maybe take some pressure off of things of him doing this and saying, well, maybe, you know what? When it comes down to it, he will do the right thing and he will put the greater good of the company before his own interest.
Well, funny enough, I think it turns out that Chase Briscoe would not have minded if Ty Gibbs won the race
that's
because
fine.
Chase Briscoe, come to find out, says later, you know what? I was pushing Bubba because I was hoping Bubba would win. I just needed a non-playoff driver to win to keep myself in good shape on the cut line. I wasn't necessarily going for a win myself. And he says, even when he pulled down to cover that lane, he wasn't sure if he was going to win. He just thought, well, great, now I can get a top 5. And then if Bubba wins, I'm in pretty good points position going into Martinsville. It just so turned out that he won, but he was going to be perfect. He was going to leave and go, oh, great, Bubba won. A non-playoff guy won. Great.
That is great. And I get that. And he's right in that sense. But to leave Talladega, lock in and not have to go to Martinsville.
Well, sure,
I mean, that's just that's a huge thing because you just don't know what's going to happen there. And a remarkable story for Chase Briscoe in the year he's had of just winning, winning and continuing to assert himself as an elite driver who's now shown again he can win on just about any kind of track. Road course. He hasn't won a road course race this year, but he's competitive on road courses. Wins on a super speedway, Darlington. This is a driver who's really, really coming into his own and a team that had a lot to prove this year, and they are answering the questions.
I do want to get to Chase Briscoe in a second, our former teardown guest co-host in the playoffs, by the way, because I think, but that's a little bit larger, longer conversation. But I do want to clean up the Hendrick stuff real quick and finish the Hendrick stuff because you also had William Byron. Because he was then suddenly inherited the lead on the lower lane. He got covered off, but he was still going to finish about fifth. Gets turned by Carson Hocevar. Hocevar says that he got Bell drove through him. It's all just a jumbled push there.
You can't blame anybody in that spot.
But unfortunate either way because Byron, we looked it up. He was fifth when he got turned, and so he finished 25th. So he loses 20 points right there. Now he still would have been below the cut line. But he would have only been 16 points below the cut line.
Huge difference.
So that's, suddenly you're not talking about stages. You're talking about, hey, I got to go there and win. Mm-hmm. And then Larson, again, like he was in potentially, okay, so you can't necessarily say it's the difference between winning and not because what you would have had to say is he would have had to take a little bit more fuel, right, on pit road. So he may not have come out in the position where he was. But let's say he came out in the top 5 or top 10 versus running out of fuel and finishing 26th. If you give Larson back 15, 20 more points,
20s in.
He's a virtual lock-in. Well, not virtually, because if there's a new winner, he's still got to be 20. He's still 20.
But there's a scenario where he could clinch after stage 1 or even stage 2.
Not if there's a new winner.
Depending. Yeah, depends on how the points fall and everything. But there is a scenario like that. But it's unfortunate.
But he would be in way. Instead, now it's like, okay, I got to go race against Bell. So
and now I got to race straight up. And I talked to Cliff Daniels after the race, and Cliff Daniels said, "Hey, listen, we had it down to we thought we were good. They thought they were going to run out right at the line. Obviously, they were a half lap off. They were close, but just it's the game of inches. And this is unfortunately for them, they came up short.
Man, that is really crazy because that could change everything. I mean, that could be if there's a new winner. Let's say Blaney does win Martinsville and Bell outruns Larson, you're potentially looking at Larson missing because he ran out of fuel at Talladega. When he was going to have a chance to win Talladega, he was running great.
Yeah.
Wow, holy crap.
This is the playoff. This is what this play. I mean, it's all these little micro moments that end up becoming even bigger down the road.
By the way, for those who are like, oh, Chase Elliott fans, for instance, we didn't talk about Chase Elliott, but with the crash, there was no big one today, but in terms of the biggest multi-car crash, Chase Elliott got caught up in that, not of his own doing, of course. And so people are like, oh, the randomness of this race and all stuff. Well, bad news, because let's say there is Now, depending, unless there's 36 races, I guess. But either way, let's say if there's a 10 race, Talladega is the third to last race next year again. And if there's a 4 race playoff, Talladega is part of the championship round. The schedule's already out. So if they do a 4 race playoff, this race will help determine the championship next season. So I guess this is why this race got moved to later in the year. But yeah, I mean, it's part of it, I guess. I don't know.
Elliott's 62 points out, and to your point about randomness and everything like that, he says that they put themselves in that position. They did not manage the pit road sequence well enough. They cost themselves some positions, and they end up getting back in that wreck. So he, based off of that, it doesn't feel like it would be random. It's like they didn't feel like they executed well enough on pit road, and because of that, they put themselves in a bad spot.
I actually don't think this is super devastating to Elliott's playoff hopes in the sense that
62 points back, man.
Right, but here I was going to say I feel like they were pretty much going to have to go win Martinsville anyway, because unless they won today. If you're not going to win today, based on how the playoffs have been unfolding, look where Byron was going to be today. Even if he finished top 5, he was still going to be a decent amount of points out.
16 is different. I mean, 16 is manageable though. You can knock that off after 2 stages, and especially
you're kind of hoping somebody has a bad day.
Yeah, but you at least you control. I agree with to your point about Chase though. I agree with that. It's no different than the Blaney and Logano thing I said, which is you now know what you need to do. Your strategy. It's not a we got to do that. You don't have to hedge your bets. You're just pushing those chips on the table. You're all in. We're in this to win it. We're going to gamble on tires. We're going to gamble on this. We're going to take shots. We're going to do whatever we have to do to get ourselves in that position to get a win and forget anything else.
Yeah. Well, I asked Chase Elliott yesterday about Hendrick's flat track program, because we were talking about, the gains that they made on the intermediate tracks, even though he didn't have the finish he wanted last week, because he was really pumped up about how well they ran it at Vegas and the speed. And, aside from his result, obviously, but, he said, listen, I still don't know about the flat track program, but we have 2 more report cards coming up the next 2 weeks. And he said, I keep telling you guys, all you have to do in this playoffs is buy yourself more time to try to hit on something. And so we'll find out if we've bought ourselves more time to figure something out since New Hampshire. But certainly New Hampshire indicated that the flat track program, the best of, goes to Penske. So we will see if they can keep that up. But just a wild sort of sequence there where, the playoff seems very clear now, but it's
wide open. It feels wide open. And if Penske doesn't get to Phoenix, I don't think there is a clear-cut favorite, where as before, a year ago, you were like, no, Ryan Blaney. And even there were some people like, man, don't sleep on Joey Logano. Don't, he's there. And this year it's man, you can make a case for Chase Briscoe. Cited his first career win, by the way. Denny Hamlin, we made that argument a week ago. Kyle Larson is Kyle Larson. It does feel kind of like anybody's championship, and that's really cool. It's a nice level of unknown going into a race where sometimes you feel like, okay, it's this guy's race to win or lose.
Well, I would be puzzled just if I'm just looking, forget the other 2 guys coming into it. Because if you throw Bell in the mix, this could change too. But between Hamlin and Briscoe, I think even just that is really hard to pick a favorite, let alone who the other 2 are going to be, right? Who would you pick between Briscoe and Hamlin?
I still
run better at Phoenix.
I still lean Denny Hamlin. I still think there's a really big advantage by winning at Las Vegas. He's the veteran. He's been in this position before. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes it does. The experience counts for something. I like the fact that that he and the team have had a little bit of time to do some prep. I'm going to go Denny Hamlin, but again, you can make a case for any of them. It's not. And here's the other thing too is if Kyle Larson, Ryan, we have a really good chance here. Dustin Long putting this out from NBC Sports, the potential of the championship 4 being all first-time potential champions.
Oh, wow.
Because Hamlin, Briscoe, no champion.
Right.
If Bell gets there, he's never won a championship. Presumably, Byron's never won a championship. So yeah, it's
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, I think you're sleeping on Briscoe a little bit by even saying Hamlin that quickly, because Briscoe, we don't even know how good he was in terms of JGR at Phoenix, because he has blossomed so much and figured out these cars so much more than when they were there at Phoenix the first time this year. And he did win in an SHR car at Phoenix before, but Briscoe didn't really start to figure out these cars and how to manage the speed at JGR until, May.
Yeah, for sure. At Phoenix early in the year, started 30th, finished 35th, crashed out of the race. So to your point, and that push that aside, ignore that.
Well, I don't even remember that anyway, or what happened to him or what the incident was. But yeah, either way, he's a totally different driver now.
Really, you just look at what they have done since I think Coca-Cola 600 is probably the cutoff, because that was where they really felt like they started clicking, and it's a totally different team, and he's a completely different driver, and that team has figured out how to work with him, and he really, to his credit, has put in the time and the effort to figure out how to drive a Joe Gibbs Racing car.
They had a slow start to the season, Jordan, but Chase Briscoe, because he was, like you said, trying to get up to speed and equipment that was faster than anything he'd ever been in. Chase Briscoe is the season top 5 leader. I think he has. I got it
right here in 2 seconds. He has 15 top 5s on the year, and he does lead the series, and he is 3rd in top 10s, by the way.
Yeah. It's pretty remarkable, because here's a guy that, you go to JGR, you're replacing Truex, and you're like, okay, we know this guy has to win. We know there's, he's got to prove himself. How's he gonna do? I do a preseason questions contest each year on The Athletic, Jordan, and one of my questions this year was, how many wins will Chase Briscoe have? And the categories were 0, 1 to 2 was an option, 3 to 4, or 5 or more. I went with 2 wins. I thought he'd win twice, have a respectable season. He's now won 3 times, and I think he's had far more than just a respectable season. He is the polls leader. Is he not? 7 polls.
7 polls, and he has the 2nd best average finish.
To Bell.
He might be. Let me look in laps led here too, by the way.
No, Larson's still the last.
No, I'm saying, but I think Briscoe might be. Briscoe's 3rd in laps led. So every major statistical category, he's top 3, top 4.
It's just remarkable in the sense that I think JGR was like, hey, we got to replace Truex. Who are we gonna get? Kind of not a lot out there necessarily.
He was a great. Right? He kind of seen as like yes, he's got a lot of talent. We're gonna kind of take I don't say a flyer on him, but he's got a lot of talent. We're gonna put him over here for a couple of years. We're gonna give him a shot.
Let's give him a shot.
If this works out, fantastic, awesome, boom, kumbaya. We're going forward. If not, well, the driver's market in 2027, as we know, is rich. A lot of guys are big names or contracts are up. Okay, we're going to be okay. We'll go get somebody else.
Yeah, he could be a bridge for them.
100% a bridge.
That's a capable fill-in for Truex, but
get a win or two.
Was he really going to be the long-term solution? I don't know that that's why they were getting him. But I think now.
No, now you're locking him up.
Now you're like, oh my gosh, we can't let this guy go anywhere. Not only is he fast, he wins, but he also is super sponsor friendly.
Great teammate.
Yes, great teammate. Super fan friendly. One of the most down to earth people in general you'd ever want to meet. Yeah, he's only 30.
Yep. So you can build a team around for the next 10 years.
He's got the great story. And I just tweeted this a little bit ago, so you can try to go find it. But the story I wrote in 2020, the amount of time, it's not just like 1 or 2 things that kept this guy's career alive or the breaks that he got. This was like the ultimate grinder. He went down to North Carolina with literally nothing to try to pursue his dream. Was sweeping floors in the ARCA shop. They gave him a test.
Sleeping on couches, right?
Oh yeah. He was Christopher Bell's roommate at Ross Weiss's house. And he and Bell were, both trying to make their way into it. literally sleeping on couch.
I think you're racing for a championship too.
Yeah,
That's wild.
And so they would they would buy cookie cakes when one of them would do well. There was the household celebration to have a cookie cake, like from the mall, I think. Those places.
Yeah, I know they're not my favorite. That's not how I would be celebrating. How would you celebrate? What would you do?
Well, I mean, he talked. I think his rent was $50 a month to pay Ross Weiss to sleep on his couch.
Great story, by the way.
Ross Weiss has said in the past that couch should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's like the Jimmy John. It's the couch that Ron Hornaday.
Yeah.
That Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson both crashed on it. They were trying to make it NASCAR. It's like this decade's version of that. Yeah. They need like a couch section in NASCAR Hall of Fame apparently.
Ross Weiss, by the way, has been a long time, dirt racing content guy, camera guy. He did do some SHR work for a while, and so we had him in NASCAR for a little bit, but really great guy as well. But anyway, so just a cool story there, and
go read it. It's awesome.
Well, no. I meant
your story is awesome. Go read it. It's a great story. You did great work. Be proud.
Thank you. Well, anyway, it's just the amount of, like, for instance, even Briscoe, when he won at the Roval that year in Xfinity, when he didn't have a ride for the next year,
2019,
and he was under the impression that he was going to be told, like, hey, by Ford, like, thanks, but like this isn't really working out, like you're kind of done. Then he wins at the Roval, like to save his career, essentially, like just all this crazy happenings. He is one of the guys that, a lot of fans are like, man, all these people are just, it's like a bunch of rich kids now, and just a buy a ride kind of stuff. Like he's one of the last
old school
people that has made their way in from the traditional, well, not even traditional. I mean, his story is way crazier than a lot of other people, but
it's very old school. Work your way up, scrap your way by, fight, get breaks, take advantage of it, work hard.
And the other thing is, like, I've told people this all year. I can't remember whether we talked about this in person, but like
probably
Briscoe, I keep telling people, man, I hope he doesn't change. Because you see drivers when they start to be on a bigger team or they start to get success, and you're like, man, they're not quite the same person. They let the pressure get to them, or they let all the obligations. They're not as available. They're not as humble, down to earth, or fan friendly kind of thing. It's obviously success changes you, and the pressure and the stress of the spotlight changes you, and you're just not. I just hope Briscoe doesn't change, because he hasn't so far.
I was gonna say he hasn't so far.
He's the same guy he was in the Truck Series, and
wants to come on our show, hang out with us.
Well, I mean, to that point, like, so Megan Lieben, who is Chase Briscoe's PR person, when you and I were at SB Nation, Megan Lieben, I noticed that she had written some interesting stuff about what it's like, the kid experience at the racing. She was 13 at the time. So I had her be the kids columnist for SB Nation from a kid's perspective. And she ended up growing up. She went through college, pursued her degree, got an internship at JGR, got a job at JGR. This is her first year as Briscoe's PR. I mean, he obviously just got there too. And so, I've seen through her lens and stuff. And, it's funny because it's tough to get him places on time, because he always wants to stop and talk to fans. He likes to just talk to people. So if people are like yelling, "Oh, Chase Brisco," he's going to stop and talk to you probably. You know what I mean? And so she's trying, hey, we got this next thing to go to. We got this next thing. Megan's trying to get into this thing on time.
Did you threaten to fire her, by the way, too?
No, I didn't threaten to fire her.
Just me. Okay.
Well, I mean, you probably deserved it. Anyway.
I did, actually.
Listen, he's still this down-to-earth guy. He's very unassuming, and so it's cool to see somebody like that have a chance to win a championship. I mean, I think that's good. NASCAR has been searching for this personality void of like people that are relatable in this era.
He's an everyman. That you need an everyman tale, and you need your superstars. You need your bigger than life personalities. But you also need the people that the common fan can relate to. And Briscoe is certainly that in so many reasons, for so many reasons.
Well, and the other thing too is like he doesn't he doesn't really get too high or low about things.
No.
And so
very little ego. Very little ego.
I don't think he's going to actually be phased or intimidated by this Championship 4 appearance. I think he's going to be, first of all, he's gone through it in Xfinity, which I think helps to a degree. Like, you kind of know the rhythm of it, but I don't think he's going to be like, hey, this is my whole, like, it's almost like Briscoe's playing with house money in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
he wasn't supposed to get here this year.
No, he's not supposed to have the year that he had.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to have the career at all.
No,
he was never supposed to make it to Cup. So everything for him was like
a bonus.
Oh, cool! This is great.
It's one of those stupid cakes you buy.
What?
The mall cakes that you're telling me.
Oh, the cookie cake.
Yeah, it's like a cookie cake. Everything here is a cookie. But I mean, like your point, and the reality is, we talk about like what's the pressure of the Championship 4 and everything, and this and that. And there's it's a lot. But Chase Elliott in his first appearance in 2021, Kyle Larson his first appearance in 2021. Blaney did it. I mean, it's not uncommon for guys in their first Championship 4 appearance to leave with the hardware.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see, obviously, how he handles it and all that stuff. But, like I was talking to him yesterday, and obviously didn't know he's going to win. But I was saying that, don't you feel like you've already proven yourself? Like, if your round of 8 ends here, like you were racing for your job, you did that, right? Like you've kind of done enough now to, at least be secure. Like you've proven yourself. And he's like, yeah, there is part of that, but like he was like, I will be so crushed if I don't make the Final 4. I'll be so disappointed if I don't make the Final 4 because I really think I can win the championship. So like, yes, it's great that we've had a good year, but I feel like this is such a good opportunity. And if we don't make the Final 4, I feel like it would have been wasted, like this opportunity. So like, I think he's really just focused on that. Like up until today, he had not talked about playoffs, like playoff scenarios with James Small, the whole playoffs. Like they had never had a conversation about it. They've just been kind of going through things. Now today, when he sped on pit road and speeding penalty, as James Small said, stepped on his PP. It was a setback, right? Because they were trying to get stage points and they knew they were going to be close to the cut line. And man, this is tough.
One of the best quotes, by the way. James Small is just one of the best quotes in the sport.
Oh yeah, he'll just say whatever. He'll say anything.
Him winning a championship, like just put a camera on him, and
he needs to be mic'd up.
Put a camera on him, and just let it cook.
He needs to be mic'd up for the whole championship weekend.
Oh man. Great.
Oh, the swear word. Actually you would, the whole thing would be
just a long string of those.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't see, I think the whole calculus though changes if Bell makes it. I think Bell becomes a favorite of the JGR drivers. I don't know. I think I would rank it this way. If a Team Penske car's in,
Penske,
they're the favorite for Phoenix.
Yep.
If it's like Larson or Byron or Elliott, I mean, I have to put the JGR. I have to put the Hendrick car 4th and JGR above them.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, okay, well, who? And not saying they couldn't do it, because execution wise, I think Hendrick always finds a way. And
don't bet against Cliff Daniels and Kyle Larson
for sure. But speed wise, you're going to think, okay, JGR maybe has the edge there. So then, but if Bell makes it, I think I have to put Bell over Briscoe and Hamlin. If there's no Bell and it's like Larson, well, see, here's the thing. If there's no Bell, that means there's a winner from below the cut line. So you're talking about a Penske driver. So
I was told there'd be no math. So this is.
It's not really math. I
understand.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
let's just get through next week and then we can figure this out, because it's a lot of hypotheticals and potentials, and we'll see.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think regardless, if Hendrick gets to the championship 4, whomever that is, if it is a Larson or an Elliott or a Byron, I am less confident in them in winning the championship. Now, could they? Absolutely. But I'm certainly less confident than I am in Hamlin and even Briscoe, or certainly Bell too.
Let's see. What else is on our list here?
I got a long list.
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, I did make a note. Man, NASCAR, once again, is getting lucky with the weather at a rate I've never seen. Now it'll probably end. There's no way we can make it through the season.
Martinsville's going to be like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah. Seth Agert has noted, Seth Agert, the great stats guy on X, always putting out his crazy charts. He's noted that I think 1994 was the last season where no races were rained out in any of the series. Right now, we're at this point. We are 34 weeks into this year. No races in any series have been moved to another day. Have been rained out. I know. But so we got super lucky with the weather because this had an 80% chance of rain. All up until a couple of days ago, it was like this is not looking good, and it did rain. But all the rain was between the Xfinity race and the Cup race overnight, and it moved out by about 10 a.m. By the time we went out to the tweet up this morning, it was just some drizzle.
A little bit of light drizzle. Had to bring an umbrella.
Some mist. Well, you had to bring an umbrella because you're a diva, but
I didn't want to mess up my hair.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
Thank you for proving my point. So yeah, I mean NASCAR, geez, like that is
it's nice.
Just crazy. They have
We've had some delays and everything, but no postponements.
And so now you have NBC finally back on NBC, the racing today, going up against F1, the F1 race at Coda. So we'll see what the ratings are. The viewership has been struggling on USA. We'll see if it's any better on NBC.
Very curious to see what the number is. We're going to get in a good race, Paul, but good race, competitive.
You want to talk about whether it was good? Because there's certainly some stats.
Yeah. You want to talk lead changes?
So yeah, lead changes.
77.
77 lead changes.
Fourth most all time.
Yes, and the other, I believe Steven Stumpf pointed out that the ones
tandem,
the ones ahead of that were all the tandem drafting races.
which was where they were purposely handing off leads. So it's a
little the third most lead changes all time.
Third most lead now. So the other two were tandem. So they were handing off. So
aside from the tandem racing, and this is NASCAR history, by the way, NASCAR Cup Series history, 77 lead changes today. Now the other thing that was maybe it was fourth most. Anyway, the other thing that was eye-opening. So you were right. Sorry. The thing that was third most ever in NASCAR history. There was 27 different leaders today. 27 different drivers led at least one lap, according to Seth Agert. That is third most in Cup Series history. And the other two were also Talladega races, 2010 Talladega and 2008 Talladega. So, I mean, from lead changes in that perspective, you got that box checked. But some people that's not all it is for them.
No, I didn't get that. And you're going to have people that are going to listen. There was no doubt. Fuel mileage, fuel saving was the thing today. 100 at times, 100%.
I didn't feel like it was they were doing it, but I think.
But there was the way the cautions fell, though. I forgot it was stage 1 or stage 2. The way the caution fell, it was like they made it, and it was like boom. Now we can go to the end. So you didn't have a lot of that. And I will say this too. Beyond this, the saving fuel, you had different guys on different agendas. Like some guys were like, I'm not saving fuel. Like Denny Hamlin went from the back to the front.
Yeah.
You had multiple groups. I know the bottom didn't really kind of form up at the end there, but you did have multiple grooves. You had multiple lanes where guys could make passes. Yes, it's not like it is, and sometimes we have the big swooping passes, and it was harder to make moves at times. But it was this. It didn't look like a Talladega race where you're like, oh my God, nothing is happening here. Like things were happening. I wasn't displeased by it.
I mean, there was certainly parts of the race where there was like the lull of like, all right,
but
that's every 500 mile super speed race. But I will say this, by the way the cautions came out, you had a 2-lap shootout to end stage 1 with a clean finish, by the way. So that was pretty cool to watch from the
barely.
Yeah. You had a 4-lap shootout to end stage 2 with a clean finish. So that was, again, exciting. And then those last, I mean, I know there was a caution to trigger overtime, but from like 12 to go until 2 to go or whatever.
The 17 laps, 17 laps to go. Let's just use that as a cutoff. From that on, it was like white knuckle. And I wrote it down. 7 laps to go. You had 3 wide, all up.
Oh, my gosh.
Like that's like
I even tweeted, I was like, man, if they can do these last dozen laps or whatever, all clean. Like, this is spectacular.
Yeah.
Like I was going back afterwards and watching some of the in-car stuff that you have the ability to do on Max now, trying to see
So
different
good. Isn't
perspectives.
that great to have that?
And like of what happened in the last lap. And so I was just watching overtime. And I mean, all those cars are like this in the pack. They're totally squirrely.
Real sketchy today.
And they're all just taking pushes. It was so crazy. And they're somehow hanging on to it and not wrecking it. And ultimately, like, yes, I mean, there was, Buescher gets spun out and all that stuff.
Some big hits today, too.
Yeah.
Oof.
But I mean, that was really, really, those guys, their talent is off the charts. So yeah, I mean, you have overtime, but hey, at least it didn't devolve into a total clown show. It was one overtime. And again, clean finish, except unfortunately for Byron.
Sure.
Getting spun out. By
deserving winner. And I always harp on this, but I really think it is that you had people want to say it's luck in these races. And yes, there's an element of luck. But you had the same group of guys who run these races so well that were up there running well, and that's not a coincidence.
So that said, we both liked it, but where are people going to come down on this? And I have not. I did win last week to keep myself alive.
I know. I should have I'm kicking myself on that one.
But yeah, I wish I had studied this a little bit, but I don't know. I don't really know where to go here.
Yep, I hear you. I'm just going over a couple things here. Sorry.
What do you mean? Are you looking at?
I have notes, Jeff.
You have notes? You mean texts from your friends that?
I have notes.
Were they texts from your friends?
None of your business.
So you just looked up texts from your friends?
No, I was going over my notes.
Okay. Do you have your guess or?
I do. How do you say it?
Okay.
82.
Shoot. I might be in trouble. This might be the end of my road. I have 80. I was just trying to go for like the simple.
I think it's gonna be higher.
I think it's gonna
be high. And I had to talk myself out of going like 88.
But super speedway racing does get dinged routinely. You don't see a lot of
people are going to complain about fuel mileage.
Super speedway races in general, even old car too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because some people are just like, "This is stupid."
Yep,
this is stupid.
They're wrecking. Oh, they're not.
I also do think there is undoubtedly some sort of Chase Elliott wrecks early effect on the pole. People get mad when he's wrecked out of the race, so that could be. And I'm not saying it's a ton, but like that's a few points.
You're making me nervous, buddy.
I'm just saying.
I'm starting to think you're going to be right.
The Hendrick fans are not going to be like, "Oh, this is great." They're going to be like, "Screw this! Why is this in the playoffs?"
Well, not only that, because you had Elliott, you had Byron, you
right.
had Larson, you had Bowman had an engine or some kind of mechanical failure or issue. Yeah,
I might have a shot.
Oh, yeah, I think you're actually.
I don't know. No, I mean, it was a good race, though. I mean, racing wise, it was a good race. I thought, especially for next gen era super speedway stuff. Again, the ending was the last few laps, but
what was your guess? 80?
80.
Oh,
80.
Man. Oof.
It's going to be close. I think this one's going to be close.
Oh, man.
So
we'll see. By the way, we decided on the bet.
Well, we think.
We did. I think I'm done with it. You said you're done with it. So we don't have to dive in. But dunk tank at Daytona, kind of like the lemonade stand where we raise money.
Are you talking about Brian from Seattle? Thing?
Yep. I'm cool with that. So we raise money for charity. We do the dunk tank.
We're thinking about doing a dunk tank.
I was explaining it. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I still don't love it, but it's better than, Hot Wings challenge is stupid. So
that's fun. But anyway, dunk tank is fine. I'm cool with the dunk tank. I like it. I think I like it more than you do. But yeah,
I don't want to be in a dunk tank.
You can swim Lake Lloyd.
Huh?
You can go swim Lake Lloyd. I'll let you.
Actually, so my mom, I went and had lunch with my parents this week, and we were talking about the bets and how I thought it was stupid to do the Hot Wings challenge, and I was like, I would just rather just swim in Lake Lloyd, and they do a triathlon down there, and she's like, absolutely not. You are not swimming in Lake Lloyd. My son is. There's gators in there. You don't know if there's gators in there. Mom, I know you're probably watching right now, so it's probably an exaggeration of what my mom said. Sorry if I'm exaggerating, but she was adamant that I not swim in Lake Lloyd.
So I'm sorry, we kind of glossed over this part. Your mom actually agreed with me.
That's true. Sorry, Mom, to out you for that. Yeah. Anyway, I still would have liked to do I don't like to do it, but I think a comedy routine would have been proper punishment. But anyway, dunk tank, whatever.
Raise money for the kids.
We'll see if we can get Daytona. Find a dunk tank to do it.
I'll make some calls. We got this.
NASCAR Foundation is going to get more money.
Yeah, I got this. I'll take care of it.
Anyway, whatever. I hope it's not like a, dunk tank where it's like too easy.
Oh no, it's gonna be real easy.
No,
I'm gonna have people staying like. People are gonna be staying like 2 feet away from the thing.
The dunk tank is a game of skill. You have to throw it properly.
Yeah, they just gotta throw it 2 feet. And the number of people from the garage. Oh, think of the number of NASCAR executives that are gonna line up and they're just gonna slap down like $100 bill and like just give me all the balls. Just keep them coming. They're just gonna be boom, 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 boom.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
All right. Anything else from this race that you wanted to discuss before we move on to other topics?
A couple hard hits today. Thankfully, no injuries. Just very thankful to see that because every time you leave here and you see so many crashes, Chris Buescher, Justin Haley, AJ Allmendinger, it was hard hit after hard hit after hard hit, and thankfully
it did take a while for them to get to Allmendinger. Didn't you think?
Yeah, I looked at the video. 45 seconds.
It was a fan shot video tweeted me. I sent to you from the stands. They were on Allmendinger's car the whole time, so you could time it from the time that he
45 seconds. 45 seconds before the first safety person touched AJ Allmendinger,
and he's like lying on the ground next to the car with his car on fire.
And then the safety workers were walking out, like literally walking up to him, which was disconcerting to me. Is like there should be a little bit more of an urgency, if you would. And then they kind of like half jogged. And then one person with the fire extinguisher walked the wrong side of the car and then walked around it. It did not look right. I talked to NASCAR about this. They're going to take a look at it. Okay. And I can't speak to this because I don't know, but there are cars on the tracks. Where did AJ was versus where the dispatch vehicles were, that kind of thing. But I think we can all agree 45 seconds is probably too long in that situation when a driver's laying on the track like that, and that probably needs to be sped up.
Well, I think it's way too long. But in their defense, I will say he hit the wall, and it looked like originally he hit the wall and was going to go to pit road. Mm-hmm. And then he stops, and then his car catches on fire. So it could be that he hits the wall, and they're like, all right, this car is going to his pit stall, but we don't need to. And
there's the other accident going on. There's the other pile up too where people are.
It's still too long. When a driver is lying
100%
on the video, he's lying on the ground trying to catch his breath, turns out, because he got the air knocked out of him. And then you're like, okay, when's somebody going to come into the shot here? Like still there. So, but it's a big track as well. So I get that part of it. I'll be interested to hear what they say on Holler Talk.
Yeah. And that's Chris said, like, listen, we would like to see that be quicker. So.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Anything else from this race?
Nope.
Okay. So we have other things to talk about, like Kyle Busch getting a new crew chief, Jim Pullman, who's Justin Allgaier's crew chief now. Now he was at RCR, doing some R&D type
behind the scenes stuff. Work on the next gen car.
Yeah, in the development for the next gen car and in the first year of it and stuff. So he has some experience there, but it was interesting to hear them, both Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch talk about, really leadership is the most important thing now when it comes to a crew chief. It's, because I was like, he doesn't have a lot of experience with the next gen car. Is that a problem? And like leadership is P1. So, and they Kyle Busch was in the interviews of various crew chief candidates, and he liked what Pullman had to say, and he liked that Pullman, kind of helped turn the JRM program, the whole program around too, and make it better for everybody. So,
it checks a lot of boxes, makes sense. And what he has done at JRM really, I think, stands out. It's an inside the house hire, but it's also an outside the box hire, if that makes sense. This is a guy who went to JRM, and everybody there will tell you he made that organization across the board better, and all of their cars are winning now. It's a good move. And we have seen crew chiefs go from trucks or Xfinity series into the Cup series without much experience with the next gen car and have success. We saw it with Bubba Wallace's team. We've seen it with William Byron's team. It's not unprecedented, but he does have a little bit of next gen familiarity. This seems to be like a good move, and the reality is, I got 1 year to figure this out, man. Like, I mean, Kyle Busch's contract is up with RCR after next year. Who knows what's going to happen after that? So, Kyle's riding how many years now? It's been 2 years since Kyle last won a race. Yeah. So the results need to be improved.
And then we are going to talk about Spire Motorsports because they announced that Justin Haley is not returning. This is something that's been coming for a while in terms of probably the summer, July.
For sure.
I mean, it didn't work out there. I mean, it just they couldn't get the speed out of that car, and they were looking. Now, you feel like who's going to go in the car.
Yeah, I mean, I alluded to it earlier this week on The Athletic. I said Daniel Suarez is the leading candidate. I will tell you here now, Daniel Suarez is going to be in that car next year, and I would expect an announcement very soon.
Okay. So let's talk about that. Suarez loses the Trackhouse ride, and it's like, man, is there anything out there for him? I think from his perspective,
he was very optimistic.
He was
very bullish.
He was, but it didn't seem like at the time there was going to be a lot out there. Now, I don't know. I think from his perspective, it's great. He kind of lands on his feet. Spire, though, we had heard was looking to take a big swing. I don't know if this is the big swing that they were going for, but I also don't know that there's anybody out there. Who else were they going to get in terms of taking a qualified Cup driver and not just, you know what I'm saying?
No, they had explored a lot. I know for a fact that they had conversations with multiple drivers, including one notable driver, but it just didn't work out for a lot of reasons. We talked about Chase Briscoe kind of being a bridge, right? Mm-hmm. I think that is, in a way, what this is looked at, is that you're getting, and Daniel Suarez is a driver who has to prove himself. Like, he has not had the success, especially compared to his teammates. He has not had the sustained level of success year to year. He has to prove himself next year. He has to have a big year to prove that he needs to stay in the Cup Series, because it's no longer a guarantee. And you're getting a very, very hungry and motivated driver in Daniel Suarez, who is going to is racing for his contract, right? That's a good thing. I mean, like, that's a good thing. And the opportunity's there for him to, if he goes and has a big year, maybe stay in that car, who knows, or potential opportunities open up. The 27 driver market there's a lot of big names whose contracts are up. Spire has said that they want to be a consistently competitive organization. You look at what Carson Hocevar has done this year. He's had a lot of great runs. He is on the cusp, I think, of winning. I think we agree. Michael McDowell's had a lot of good runs this year, too. Maybe the results necessarily haven't been there, but they've been in contention. Those two teams are like right there. And this 7 team needs to rise up to that level. And whether that's Suarez or a different driver, we'll see. But Suarez is going to have every opportunity.
I'm not sure sometimes people understand how much Spire is ready to, like, go big.
Chomping at the bit, like.
Because, you've got Jeff Dickerson there, who people know or have heard from, but, like, Dan Taurus, are people aware that, like, Dan Taurus is the Cadillac F1 team? Like, this guy is coming in he is wanting to be a championship contending.
He wants to be a player. Yeah.
And that group, the TWG group or whatever, I mean, there's the Lakers, the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is the family that Spire Motorsports is part of, sports property-wise, is, like, massive and mega. So they're not like, okay, yeah, let's keep building and running 20th or whatever, or like let's get some top 15s. They're like, we need to get better.
No, we want to win. Like it's not.
So that's why I don't, Suarez, like you said, is really gonna have to prove himself.
Yeah,
in a Briscoe-like way, in a way.
Yeah, 100%. Right? It's a great comparison. But they're just, they wanted to do something big, right? But Sometimes
Who do
you
you get
can't.
right now?
You
Yeah.
can't. You just can't. People are locked in contracts right now. That's the way it is. It's why silly season was kind of quiet this year. But I can't say this enough. Next year is going to, the way things are stand right now, and people resign. I get that. As it stands right now, nearly every major organization within that garage has at least one opening.
Crazy. Wow. Well, we mentioned the Cadillac F1 team, and earlier we talked about how F1, the COTA race, was up against NASCAR today, at least for part of the time, because races are so short. It started like 30 laps in to the race, to the NASCAR race, and it ended while stage 2, right before stage 3 went green. That was their whole race.
So wild.
Max Verstappen won, but right now NASCAR has been a talking point this year. Like, whoa, F1 has kind of been getting close to NASCAR's viewership. Well, celebration time, I'm sure, in the NASCAR halls this week when it was announced that F1 is going to Apple TV next year. They're not going to be on ESPN anymore. They have signed a contract, 5-year deal with Apple TV, and so they will be on a streaming service, all of their races. I think it's a huge mistake. Personally, I think it's a big mistake because we saw where our colleagues reported that I think ESPN offered them $90 million a year,
which is about what they were paying already.
Stay. I think it was an increase, wasn't it?
A little bit of an increase, but yeah.
Now, obviously, I think Andrew Marchand, our colleague, reported $140 million a year that they're getting. So $50 million more a year, great. But let's think about this,
At
right?
what cost?
To me, if you went to a sports property that's been trying to grow an American fan base, and you said, for $50 million ad campaign a year, $50 million marketing campaign, we will put you in front of the biggest mainstream sports fans as much as we can. We'll promote you on Sports Center during college football games. We will have a presence at your races. We will put you on ESPN.com, all this kind of stuff. I think for $50 million, you'd probably take that.
Yeah,
they're passing up the $50 million
because you're going to make that up in advertising.
I mean, they're getting the $50 million, and they're going to go on Apple, and Apple's saying, and look, the promise from Apple is we're going to put you everywhere. We're going to put you on Apple Music. We're going to put you on Apple Fitness. We're going to put you on whatever. Now, you're not an Apple guy at all,
No.
But even me being an Apple guy, I'm like, how is that going to, like, they're saying, we're going to make sure that F1 is on Apple TV. Okay. Like, I don't have Apple TV, and I'm not going to get Apple TV because, like, this is what happened with MLS. I was into MLS for a little bit. I liked watching their games when they were.
League was exploding. Franchises were being added. Money was coming into the sport. They were on major cable. They were on ESPN. They were on Fox Sports 1. They had a national presence, and it was like this was a hot league, and it was growing. And it was like, all right. And they moved to Apple. They moved to MLS with this dream of they're going to do all of these things, and now it's largely in the sports spectrum obscure. It's fallen off the map.
And I think that F1 maybe overlooks that their fan base is exploded because of a bunch of casual type fans who have, it's trendy right now. It's hot. They're like, they got pulled in by Drive to Survive. Hey, they're all into it. But if you make it harder for those people, and your growth gets totally stifled, and I think it's easy for that bubble to pop. Because, and the other thing is, do they really need that money? That they have the massive worldwide TV rights all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. Apple getting the U.S. rights for $140 million is, a relative drop in the bucket to their worldwide rights. A few years ago, ESPN was putting their races on for free. They weren't getting any money for it. They're just like, hey, we just want to grow, and it worked. So why would you? We in the NASCAR world have seen what happens when you take your stuff off ESPN and you become irrelevant in to them, at least, and to a lot of sports fans, or at least harder to find that relevancy. So, man, I think F1's making a big mistake and miscalculation here by thinking that, oh yeah, all these fans that we got right now, they'll come over to Apple TV, and Apple TV, I subscribe to most streaming services, but I can't see myself subscribing to every single streaming service out there. And unless I'm a super hardcore F1 fan, I don't see it. So I don't know.
There's something. The SEC right now in college football is seeing this, what it means to be aligned with Disney. That means ABC and it means ESPN. And they have done, and I just read a really good article on awfulannouncing.com about this and how they've made like SEC all day a thing where it's like if you're a fan of big games, you just flip it to ABC and you're going to see 3 big games in a row, and you don't have to turn the channel. Whereas my favorite team, the Ducks, are on the Big Ten, and it's like, are they on CBS? Are they on Fox? Are they on Peacock? Are they on NBC? And it's like, you really got to go look for them. It's challenging to grow sport that way. To your point about the money, it's $50 million. And, yes, that's a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not. And I'd rather take that money and be like, listen, the exposure we're going to make on the back end of this means more because we're going to grow this sport. People are seeing this. It's a big deal. Think about the Las Vegas Grand Prix and how ESPN blew that out, right? It's a huge thing. There's always a streaming component. I'm a big fan of that. We talked about this with NASCAR and Amazon. Yes, 100%. Well, guess what ESPN does and does really well? They have a streaming component. Like if you're trying to reach people, they do a really good job on the streaming side. And I think it's really fair to compare F1 now to where NASCAR was in the late 90s, early 2000s. Probably the late 90s is probably the best analogy. And that sport was growing. There's a lot of money coming in. It was a hot property. Everybody wanted a piece of it. And this Southeastern-based sport was going really national. And they took the cash, they took the money grab, and that meant getting rid of North Wilkesboro and Rockingham and moving the Southern 500 off of Labor Day weekend, which is sacrilegious, and all these things. And you turned your back on a lot of fans, and you lost a lot of sense of what your sport was. And I get you have to grow this. I'm all for growing the sport and going into new markets, and that's good to do. But there's a balance to that, and NASCAR didn't have any balance. And I say all this because that's where F1 is at right now. You're seeing a lot of growth in the sport. The schedule has ballooned up. But at the same time, it's also losing Spa. You've lost Imola, or Spa is on a rotation. You're not going to Spa every year. You've lost Imola. You've lost some other tradition. You don't go to Germany. You've lost some of your traditional races for what? To go for cash grabs in markets. It's like, okay, is this really helping growing the sport? There is no doubt the Las Vegas Grand Prix helped grow the sport. That's like Texas Motor Speedway coming in the 90s was a great thing for NASCAR because you're in the Dallas market and you had a beautiful facility, but it also shouldn't come at the expense of a North Wilkesboro per se. You have to figure out a way to balance that, and there really isn't balance right now in Formula One. It feels like it's really askew.
NASCAR fans are absolutely going to understand when I say this, but Stefano Domenicali, the head of F1, is talking about a lot of changes that they can make to suit these newer fans who are younger and have shorter attention spans. He's talking about making the races possibly even shorter. He's talking about having more sprint races because people don't want to watch practice, he believes. We've heard this before. He's talking about doing reverse grids for the sprint races.
I actually get behind that.
To gimmick up the racing.
For sprint races, I'm okay with that. Not for the actual.
It's a gimmick. He's talking. You have gone F1, the traditional fan base before all these newcomers came in. If you're a traditional F1 fan, you were the most pure form of motorsport, right? Talk about season-long championship and the practices and like everything was like the pinnacle of. Now you're coming in and you're talking about all these little tweaks and gimmicks.
It adds up
to suit the newer fans. Yeah. Who just came in to check out your sport because they saw it on Netflix. And, there's even been talk and hints that a playoff could come there at some point.
I told you 2 weeks ago, Max Verstappen in this playoff format.
I mean, dude, if that happens, again, like we've all, those of us, a lot of you watching or listening, we've seen this all play out. We've seen this all play out with NASCAR, and I really think we're starting to see it play out.
We're not starting to see it. It's been going on.
They're making the decisions now. That is what NASCAR made to clear their own path for sliding down.
This isn't a new thing. This has been going on. I wrote about this in The Athletic 3 years ago or 4 years ago when we were in Miami for the Grand Prix. Like, this is an ongoing thing of like I'm okay with different things. I don't mind sprint races. I really don't. I think you can incorporate new things, but you have to have a balance. And it's just, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see in 5 years, not even 5 years, a couple of years, where this deal with Apple is and what their growth is and what the numbers are. And it can go sideways in a hurry. And maybe they don't, maybe in the grand scheme of things, they've got all the international TV money and everything else. And like they can maybe take a little bit of risk over here, but I don't know if you can, because you got 3 Grand Prix in this country. And Austin Circuit America has just signed an extension, but man, that doesn't mean that contracts are great, but they don't mean they don't insure anything necessarily, and that thing can go away in a hurry. And we have seen it before with other places that have had long-term agreements with F1, and the attendance goes down, the interest goes away, and they go away in a hurry.
You just want to be like, why doesn't somebody go, all the things that you were doing before got you where you are. The popularity got you to where you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were already doing things and people liked it enough to say, hey, I like this. Why would you then change once you actually got people to tune in and give you a chance? And you're like, hey, let's do these things to make these people happy and try to get, it's a
cash grab. I mean, it's the same thing. It's why the NFL plays 17 games now. It's why the NFL plays games in Brazil and Ireland and England and everywhere else. It's like,
it's fine if you do stuff that people will watch and tune in for. If you turn off everybody in the process, you can go away quickly.
And not only do you're going to lose the newer fans would probably, could theoretically get bored and go find the next big thing, right? Your core fan is going to be like, what the heck? This isn't the Formula One I knew and loved. And it's really hard to put that genie in the bottle.
Yep. Again, NASCAR fans have seen this 20 years ago. All right. Well, Jordan, next week, Martinsville, we'll see what happens, and we will be coming to you next Sunday night.
How many hot dogs you can eat?
Oh, 0, because I didn't lose a bet, so I won't be.
You won't have one?
No.
You should have one.
Why?
They're good.
They're not. Okay, they're not good for you.
But that's okay.
Again, no, thank you. I won't.
If I buy you one,
slander them. No, I won't. Sorry.
Okay. Disappointing.
I won't slander the Martinsville hot dogs because there's people that love them, but no, I've seen them.
Yeah.
So I used to eat like 13 in a weekend. They used to eat
13.
They used to eat. I think that was my record.
13, and you won't have one.
They used to bring in like a pyramid of them back in like the 2000s. They would bring they were stacked in like a pyramid triangle of hot dogs, all neatly thing, and everybody you just come over, and they were all like the the fully loaded ones already with the slaw and the chili on them, and so I would just go. So damn it.
Yes. Mission accomplished.
Well, on that note, that's discouraging. I'll be on. All right. Everybody, thanks always for watching.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Talk to you next time on the Teardown. See you, everybody.